Hello students, one and all. Welcome again to the channel Misostudy.com, and in this session we are going to discuss an important chapter from NEET Biology, that is the plant kingdom. As we all know, plant kingdom and animal kingdom both are the very important from the NEET point of view. Let's start the session and discuss the question one by one. So the first question from plant kingdom is a system of classification in which a large number of traits are considered is. We generally check out the various system of classification in which the traits are considered as option A natural system, option B phylogenetic system, option C artificial system, and option D synthetic system. To better understand about the question, let's start about the system of classification. As we all know, there are basically three systems of classification. There are three systems of classification is known as. First one is artificial system of classification. Next one is natural system of classification, and third and last one is phylogenetic system of classification. In all three systems of classification, the organisms are arranged. In all three, the organisms are arranged on the basis of taxonomic characters. On the basis of taxonomic characters. And when we discuss these taxonomic characters in the various aspects, there is a discussion of generally the few characters. These characters are morphological. These characters are morphological, anatomical, next is a cytological, and last one is physiological. Physiological characters. As we discuss, the system of classification is basically depend on the taxonomic characters. These taxonomic characters are very important to categorize the all living system in three basic categories or system of classification. First is artificial, next one is natural, and last one is a phylogenetic system of classification. In all three, basically the natural system of classification includes the basic system or the characters including the natural and the non-natural characters or the perspective. In artificial system of classification, few characters are based on, or classification is based on observable characters. The characters which we can observe and easily distinguish are based on that. The next is based on the phylogenetic system of classification, that is on the basis of genetic and phylogenetic relationships of an organism. As we discuss about the phylogenetic relationship, it means it shows the relationship between the organism with their ancestors. That show the ancestor relationship. So the right answer for the question in which which generally includes a large number of characters, are A, that is natural system. Why there is a natural system? Because in natural system of classification, the right one is option A, because in natural system of classification there is generally taken the large number of traits. Let's move on to the next question. The next question which we are going to discuss from the plant kingdom is classification of organism employed on the basis of morphological characters is. Option A includes natural classification, B includes phylogenetic classification, option C includes artificial classification, and D, none of these. When we discuss about the morphological characters, as we just discussed before, to better understand about the concept, as we just discussed before, the system of classifications are generally categorized into three types or three modules, named as artificial, natural, and the phylogenetic. As we taken only the morphological characters, the morphological characters are taken into consideration in artificial system of classification. Artificial system of classification in which the categorization and classification of organisms generally on the basis of one or two morphological characters. One or two morphological characters. Generally, artificial system of classification was given by scientist named as Theophrastus, who was also known as a father of botany. As we all know, we are discussing about the plant kingdom, and all the plant kingdom are come under the botany. Theophrastus classified all the plant on the basis of, especially in the artificial kingdom, on the basis of their form and texture. And he recognized the various plants on the basis of forms and textures are of following types, such as categorization in trees, shrubs, and herbs, and last in the plants like higher plants. Apart from that, on the basis of their life cycle, they also recognized and distinguished the various plants on the basis of annual plants, biennial plants, and perennial plants. First, come in the consider name about the animal plant. As animal plant grow and complete only one season, when they come or fertilize after the production of the seedling, and they reproduce and they give like the plant after they die, only one growing season it includes. In biennial plants are those plants in which generally two growing seasons include. In one season there is a production of the seeds, and in next season there is a proper cropping and the vegetation outlet from the soil. Last one is the perennial plants. Perennial plants are those in which more than 3 years or 3 cycle. More than 3 growing cycles are included in the perennial plants. More than 3 growing cycles. On the basis of all these different characters, basically the morphological characters, the right answer for the question is artificial class system of classification, artificial system of classification, in which we generally consider one or more various morphological characters, and the question is asking about the classification of the organisms generally on the basis of morphological characters. So the right answer for the question is option C, that includes artificial classification. So move on to the next question from the plant kingdom is natural system of classification was given by option A is Carl Linnaeus, B is George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker, and D is Hutchinson, and D is Ernest Haeckel. To better discuss about the concept, we just discussed this question. As we all know, Bentham and Hooker gave us the important concept that is known as a natural system of classification. That natural system of classification is generally bring out the number of characters on the basis of natural similarities, and dissimilarities. Similarities and the dissimilarities. As we discuss about the similarities and dissimilarities, or the relationship between the various organisms, the systems generally implies, apart for their relationships and the similarity point, they imply cytological characters, apart for the cytological, they also impart the physiological characters. Next, move on to the ontogeny, and they further include the point of reproduction through which there is a difference and the dissimilarities between the various organisms. And last but not the least point is cytochemistry. The chemical reaction take place in the cyto means cytoplasm. So in natural system of classification, which was put forward by the Bentham and Hooker, it is the various points that include cytological characters, physiological characters, ontogeny, reproduction, cytochemistry as well. Next, so according to the discussion, the right answer for the question is option B. That is includes about the Bentham and Hooker. So the right answer for the question is option B, that is George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker is the right answer in this case. let's move on to the next question. The next question from Plant Kingdom is, if you are asked to classify the various algae into distinct groups, which of the following characters you should choose? Here are four options. Option A includes nature of stored food material in the cell. B includes structural organization of thallus. C includes chemical composition of cell wall. And D includes types of pigments present in the cell. To discuss about the various parts and the groups out of which four options we generally choose for the various categorization of the algae, here are the options and the solution is, as we all know about the algae. First of all, we discuss about the few characters of the algae. We all know algae are chlorophyllous. Apart from that, they are non-vascular plants. Non-vascular plants which have thallus plant body. Which have thallus plant body. We all know different algae. Different types of algae vary from each other on the basis of their pigments basically. What kinds of pigments are present in the algae? There is a presence of chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B. As we all know the structure of the chlorophyll as we done in the photosynthesis as well, both the chlorophyll A and B includes, in chlorophyll A at the position R there is a presence of methyl group, and in chlorophyll B there is a presence of aldehyde group. Next there is another pigment named as xanthophylls. Next is carotenes. As we all know, carotenes and the xanthophylls are separated for each other on the presence of oxygen only. Apart from all these pigments, some other accessory pigments are also there in the algae that provides the color basically. First in the rhodophyceae. First we consider the case of rhodophyceae, in which the pigments generally includes are phycocyanin, and phycoerythrin. Phycocyanin and phycoerythrin, these two are generally provide the color in rhodophyceae. Apart from that, some other important algae are chlorophyceae, in which generally there is a categorization of cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. Blue-green algae. Cyanophyceae. Apart from the chlorophyceae, there is another term in which students generally confuse. That term was cyanophyceae. In cyanophyceae, there is a presence of a pigment named as a phycobilin. So we discussed the various types of algae here named as rhodophyceae, chlorophyceae, cyanophyceae. All these are differentiate from each other basically on the pigment level. So when we discuss about the algae point, there are a various categorization of algae and all are separated on their pigments. Even the chlorophyll A and B are the different pigments and they separated on their structure level. As we discussed, in chlorophyll A there is a R position. On the R position there is a presence of methyl group, and on again in chlorophyll B on R position there is a presence of aldehyde group. So after discussing all these, right answer for the question is option D, that is types of pigments that is present in the algal cells. So move on to the next question. The next question for plant kingdom is the thallus of Volvox is called option A cenocyte, B filament, option C is heterotrichous, option D is synobium. As we all know, what is Volvox? First off, we start the various option discussion with the Volvox. As we all know, Volvox is a colonial green alga. That kind of green algae that generally grow in colony basically. Let's take a rough picturization with the help of which we generally consideration about the algal. Here are a colonial. They are present in colony basically. Such type of structures are present all over these membrane kind of layer, and these are present in a circular manner. From the top there is a presence or emergence of a flagella with the help of which they come under the zoospores. When we discuss about their colony or such kind of a structure, they will show the synobium. They will form the synobium. The synobium of Volvox. Synobium of Volvox is largest among all the algal group. The next feature is they are highly differentiated. And they all come the motile forms. Why all the forms are motile? Because of the presence of flagella. After attaining the favorable season or onset of the favorable season, break out the wall and they generally free out and freely move to the favorable substratum to the grow further. So after discussing about the synobium and the colonial green alga, the right answer for the question is the option D, that is synobium. That is synobium. Because we generally discuss synobium is the thallus of Volvox. That is also known as a thallus of Volvox. So the right answer for the question is the thallus of Volvox is known as option D, that is synobium. The question is algae are useful because they are, options are large in number, option B are used in alcoholic fermentation, option C purify the atmosphere, and option D are indicator of air pollution. So in the previous session as well we discussed about the algae. As we all know, algae are the non-vascular plants. Algae are the non-vascular plants that generally present in the form of thallus plant body. Present in the form of thallus plant body. Apart for all these, we all know algae are separated on the basis of the presence of pigments. There are various kinds of pigments that involve in the various kinds of algae. Apart for the presence of algae, there are unique features such as algae help to entrap the maximum solar energy from the atmosphere and help them to convert and produce the maximum amount of oxygen. How they produce the maximum amount of oxygen? They can produce the maximum amount of oxygen by the process of photosynthesis. As we discussed, the process of photosynthesis shown by a algae known as a cyanobacteria or blue-green algae. Blue-green algae. As we all know, why there is name as a blue or green? Because of the presence of phycoerythrin and phycocyanin pigments in their composition. That's why that impart the color. Apart for their production of oxygen, the maximum amount of oxygen produced by the algae named as a cyanobacteria. So algae will help to purify the atmosphere. How they purify the atmosphere? By releasing the oxygen. Because in mostly aerobic species, they intake oxygen and release carbon dioxide. These carbon dioxide is taken up by the plants and algae for the further processing. So the right answer for the question after discussing all this is algae also help to purify the atmosphere. So after discussing, the right answer for the question is option C, that is help the purify the atmosphere. Who will help to purify the atmosphere? That is the algae. So move on to the next question, that is about the another important aspect from the plant kingdom, that is in eulothrix meiosis take place. As we all know, eulothrix is a plant type because we discuss about the plant kingdom is a plant. Here are our option includes A includes cells of filament, B hold fast, C zygote and D is zoospores. So better discuss about this. First of all, we'll discuss about the eulothrix. First of all, we'll discuss about the eulothrix. As we all know, eulothrix is a generally plant type in which sexual reproduction is of isogamous type. Isogamous type. As we know the meaning of word, iso means same and gamous means gametes, in which both the gametes, for example, I just try to draw out a rough diagram to better understand this. Both are identical to each other. There is a difference only in the gene allele or their allelic level. Both are same morphological gametes, hence we name it as iso means same type of gametes are there. When these kinds of gametes fuse, means same gamete fuse, it undergo the production of quadriflagellate zoospores. Again, the zoospore is a word. Zoo means like animals. Why we name the spores as a zoospores? Because such kind of a spores has flagella for the movement. Hence it named as a zoospores, or also named as a zygospores. Also named as a zygospores. They generally float on the water, and with the help of flagella, when flagella properly disintegrate and wall surround the spores, break out, and when it occur, means when flagella disintegrate and when for different kinds of wall surrounds the cells break out, it generally took place after a rest for long period. Rest for long period. The zygote of Eulothrix divide by the meiotically divisions and produce basically 16 zoospores. From one zygote, by the process of meiosis or meiotically divisions, there is a production of 16 zoospores. And after these 16 zoospores will give rise to the new Eulothrix plants after attaining the suitable substratum. So the right answer for the question is from which stage the meiosis is generally occur. So the right answer is zygote, because in zygote after meiosis will occur, it generally produces 16 zoospore, and from 16 zoospore, from each zoospore, new plant of Eulothrix will rise. So the right answer for the question is option C, that includes the zygote. So move on to the next question. The next question from the plant kingdom is, which of the following occurs both in fresh as well as in marine water? Out of the four, which one will occur both as a fresh and marine water? Option A are Edogonium, B is Cladophora, C is Spirogyra, and D is none of these. When we discuss about both fresh water and marine water, we know very well about the one species or the one option, that is Cladophora. Why I name Cladophora? Because we know about their habitat and their basic features. In Cladophora are autotrophic. It means they are capable of producing their own food. Apart from that, they are filamentous algae. Apart from that, they act as a filamentous algae that will occur both in the fresh and marine water. Point to underline, because they are filamentous algae and they can occur both in fresh and marine water. When we discuss about the other options like the Spirogyra, first we take about the Spirogyra. In Spirogyra, they generally occur in fresh water. And when we discuss Edogonium, about the Edogonium, we again know that Edogonium is a freshwater algae that generally grow permanent and semi-permanent ponds, lakes, streams, etc. So out of options, the Spirogyra and the Edogonium both are freshwater, but our question will ask out the species that remain both in fresh and marine water. So after discussing, we got to know the right answer for this is Cladophora. Cladophora is the right answer in this case. So that is option B. So out of the species, both act as a marine and fresh is Cladophora. So move on to the next question from the plant kingdom is, the next question is triphasic life cycle is found in. I repeat the question. We discuss about the triphasic life cycle is found in option A is Chondrus, B is Laminaria, C is Polysiphonia, and D is Macrocystis. When we discuss about the triphasic life cycle, triphasic, as the word, when we bifurcate the word, tri means 3, phasic means phase, in which generally 3 phases are occur, and that out of the option is occur in red algae. Red algae name as a Polysiphonia because they generally opt the triphasic life cycle. The life cycle in which the triphasics are generally includes three kinds of morphological similar plants following one after another. Name the 3 category and 3 plants. First is a gametophyte. Next is carposporophyte. And next is tetrasporophyte. That generally triphasic is generally occur these 3 phases. First is a gametophyte, next is a carposporophyte, and last one is tetrasporophyte. These 3 form the triphase, in which the life cycle of the algae basically named as Polysiphonia. that is red algae. That occur in red algae. So after discussing all this, the right answer for the question is option C, that is Polysiphonia. So move on to the next question from the plant kingdom is the chloroplast of algae usually lack. Here are four options. A includes grana, B includes lamellae, C includes pigment, and D includes quantosomes. As we all know, generally chloroplast. First of all, we discuss about the chloroplast. As we all know, chloroplast includes the pigments that help in photosynthesis. And we generally discuss about the algae part. So start the discussion. As we all know, plastids are pigments bearing membrane bound organelle. Membrane bound organelle, known as a membrane bound organelle, that is generally found in plant cell. That is generally found in plant cell. Like higher plants, algae plastids also consist of a system named as granular matrix, also named as stroma. Granular matrix, also named as a stroma, as we discussed in the photosynthesis in the lamellae, the granum, and the stroma. Stroma is basically cytoplasm and the matrix kind of a part that generally bound by membrane. Bound by membrane. And that membrane units are lamellae, also known as thylakoids. As in the plants, as we discuss in the plants, algal thylakoids are not closely packed as fused in as seen in chloroplast of higher plants. Not tightly packed as present in the higher plant chloroplast. So after discussing all these about the plastid pigments, about the stroma and the thylakoid, the right answer for the question is grana or granum. So after discussing the chloroplast of algae, as we discussed the chloroplast of higher plant as well, what is the difference between chloroplast of higher plants and the algae? Because of the presence of the compactness between the thylakoids. So the chloroplast is same like the higher plants, but that generally differentiated on the basis of packing level. So after discussing, the right answer for the question is option A, that is grana. So that is all about from the plant kingdom, that is from the NEET point of view, that is the chapter 3rd from 11th section. Hope student you like the lecture. Stay tuned with the Misostudy for such more important point of view for the NEET perspective. Till then, take care. See you in the next session.